sits and she does Q&A every week and puts all kinds of people in the hot seat, but Dory has never sat in the hot seat on her own. I'm introducing you to my friend Dory. Now, I've had a number of people say to me, what was it like meeting Dory in person? Because Dory has this really large personality on camera. But you guys have to know that behind the scenes, Dory's not always, apparently she's not part of the scene. There you are.
Yeah.
So behind the scenes, Dory's not always this high energy. She does have to recharge. She is normal, just like the rest of us. She's an absolute delight to be around in person.
I love you.
You do have to have a lot of energy if you're doing something like KetoCon, because you do. But tonight, you're going to get to see the side of Dory that I get to see, instead of the Dory that's dancing and glittery and all that. We're going to start back wherever you want, Dory, because you know your story better than anybody.
I'm going to say, because it's your group and we get to do a little bit of a different take, I'm going to start here. And I'm going to say, hi, I'm Dory. I grew up an empath with no boundaries. So I want for you guys to understand what that means. Now, when you're an empath, people can sense that on you and they feel the desire to talk to you. They want to share things with you. But when you have no boundaries, my whole life, people never had any shame saying the most horrible, horrendous, awful things to me right to my face, because I never developed any healthy boundaries around what I would and would not accept from other people. Now, for me, I think that the base of that comes from just being young and not understanding my value. You know, I always believed, you know, the nasty things that people said about me, and I allowed that to set my own value. Now, the problem is, because I never valued myself, I chose the worst of the worst. The worst of the worst. And I mean, I had shitty friends. I dated shitty guys. And I surrounded myself with people who had no issue treating me poorly. In everyday life, even strangers would walk up to me and say just horrid things. So I want to talk to you guys about the journey that I've been on for the last year. That's not just my keto journey, but finding my own self-worth and my own value, so that when I project to people confidence, it's real confidence. Because I'm gonna tell you guys a secret. I have what I affectionately called to Wendy today, perceived confidence. And I've always, my whole life, had perceived confidence. And what I mean by that is, everyone has always said to me, oh, Dory, you're so brave. You're so fearless. You are so confident. I want some of that. I need to get me some of that. But the truth is, it was never a real solid confidence. I learned when I was young how to project confidence, how to come across as a strong, confident person who feels good about themselves. But now I get to go through that actual journey and learn how to do that. Because I know how to fake it till I make it all day long. And I'm sure it's not just me. Like it can't be just me who knows the steps but never went through them. We all know that we need to love ourselves and that we need to accept all the pieces of who we used to be to do that. But where do we start? How do we do that? How do we go through the steps? And Wendy's been helping me over the last 6 months especially go through that and break down and realize that I have to set boundaries or people will treat me however they want to.
Because that's what you're teaching them, that you'll allow that.
Well, and by accepting it, you know, you can't really blame the people around you for treating you that way when you accept it. Because you know what? When I learned to put my foot down and say, no, you don't treat me that way, then people either treated me better or they saw themselves out of my life, period. period. They no longer wanted to be my friends because I wasn't easy to walk all over Dory. I wasn't, do everything I say, Dory. And I'll tell you what, when I first developed my new self-confidence, everybody's really proud of you. They're like, that's it, girl, you go. You don't take nobody's shit, until they realize that includes theirs too. And they're like, oh, but you're not going to take it off of me anymore either? Because mine's really awesome, though.
So, Dory, there's a lot of people out there that have gone on a journey like yours, starting from that to putting on the fat suit, because as empaths who have no, especially if, as an empath with no boundaries, you don't have any way, you're not protecting yourself. You're just taking on other people's shit. So you eat and you eat and you eat to try and ground yourself, to protect yourself, to push all that stuff off you. So tell us, first of all, how heavy you got and what drove you to decide to take the bariatric surgery route?
Okay. I think originally my fat suit came from the reason why a lot of us put our fat suit on. By the time I was 10 years old, grown men started to say very inappropriate things to me. Very inappropriate. And as young girls who don't know how to handle that kind of attention, somewhere in our head we think that if I'm fat and I'm not attractive, then that will stop. So I'll just get fat. I'll get fat, and then nobody will be inappropriate with me in a fashion that I don't know how to handle. So I think that for me is where it began with my weight gain. By the time I was in high school, I wasn't really a huge girl. I was 175 pounds at 5'5.5". So I was an average sized girl, but everybody else was so small in comparison that I always felt big. I suffer really, really badly with body dysmorphia. I don't see myself realistically. When I was fat, I thought I was thin, and now that I'm thin, I still feel like I'm fat. I don't have a good, clear picture of who I am, and that's something that, we need to work on together. We get to journey on that one together, because I know that's not just me. People comment, they message, I see it in my feed all of the time. I'm still walking in a plus size section, Dory, help me. I still do it too. I still walk in there. I know nothing in there is for me, but it's routine. I'm used to it. I'm fighting the regular old demons, like not wanting to try on clothes because the fitting room makes you feel hideous. So it's a lot of conditioning that we built up over a lot of years that we really need to break down, one little piece at a time and free ourselves from that. Because I know that I have let a lot of things hold me back and hold me down over the years. And I'm done. If you guys are done doing that too, then let's fix it together and set healthy boundaries and learn how to respect ourselves enough that other people will too.
Absolutely. So you have a really fascinating journey with your bariatric surgery. Yes. I really want you to talk about that. Okay, we need to get you talking about that, because that's something, there's a lot of people out there that have had bariatric surgery. A lot of people have misconceptions about bariatric surgery. I want you to take this time and bust a lot of this stuff down.
Okay, so at my biggest, I was 290 pounds, and I spent the majority of 20 years, 10 years at that weight. I gained 100 pounds when I was pregnant with my son, and I bounced back and forth that 30 pounds. I would get down a little and then up a little and down a little. The first time I contemplated having a bariatric surgery, my son was 6 months old. And I thought, you know what, he's a baby and I want to live to see him grow. And at that time, the girl who was my best friend felt very strongly about that choice for myself and my health. And she decided it wasn't appropriate for me to risk my life like that, being that I had a young child. So she talked me out of surgery. and I let it go to the back burner until he was about 5. And then again, I really started researching, looking into what I could do for weight loss surgery. And again, the same friend shut me right down. How dare I? You know, really, it's just being fat, Dory. Why do you have to be so shallow? You know, it's just being fat. You know, you could be fat. I'm fat. Why aren't you fat and happy? Well, I wasn't fat and happy, though. I was fat and I was miserable and I was in pain all of the time. So when my son was 13, so wait for it, it took me 13 years, 13 years to get up the balls and decide that it didn't really matter what anybody else said. I was going to do what I was going to do. So I did it kind of underhanded, and I didn't tell that friend. I didn't tell her till the very last minute. The morning I was boarding the plane, I phoned her and I was like, hey dude, I'm going to Mexico for a week. I'm having surgery, bye. And she was not happy. We definitely were not friends anymore when I got back, because really I had the nerve to go against her wishes and do what I wanted to do. So when I came home, she would say things like, I don't know why you're even bothering having surgery. It's not like you'll ever eat healthy. You're just going to gain it all back anyways. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your money. And then when I did start to lose weight, I would hear things like, oh, good for you. That's so great. You're losing so much weight. But you didn't actually do it, did you? You had surgery. You took the easy way. And I'm like, dude, I love it when people say the easy way, because they clearly know like this much and nothing about surgery if they think that that's the easy way. Now, I didn't get to be 290 pounds because I don't like food, right? I didn't get to be that weight because I have a lot of self-control over my food urges. It didn't happen to me by accident. So the first hurdle that I came across when it came time for surgery is I was too fat to get surgery. So first of all, you got to lose some weight to qualify for the surgery, because your body mass index has to be under a certain level, and mine was not. So to begin with, to qualify for the surgery, I had to lose 20 pounds, which I think I only managed to do because of the liquid diet that you have to do. Now, if you guys had surgery and they didn't put you on a liquid diet, you have the worst surgeon ever. Sue him. Sorry, sue him, because you have to go on a liquid diet. One of the requirements for that is your stomach needs to be empty when they do surgery. And also, when they put you on the liquid diet, some of your organs, like your liver, they shrink up so that they can get in and do the surgery that they need to do. So the first day that I started my liquid diet, I was out getting my hair done, and I won't lie, this really skinny, tall girl walked by me with a salad, and it wasn't a great looking salad. It was just, you know, iceberg lettuce with a couple of cucumbers and chunks of tomatoes. But I swear, I thought, girl, you ain't that big. I could knock you down and take that salad. I will take it. So it was brutal. Going without the food was really, 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 really hard for me. Once I had the surgery, I reacted poorly to the anesthetic, and they couldn't make me stop throwing up for 4 days straight. Day and night, night and day. For 4 days, I threw up. And I remember at one point sitting in the with my feet in a sink of cold water and thinking to myself, you know, I could just bump that hair dryer in that water and this would be all over. It would be done. But you know what? A miracle happened. On day 5, I woke up and I felt better than I've ever felt in my whole life. It was like a light switch. I literally woke up and I felt healthy. I don't remember ever feeling healthy in my life. And my girlfriend and I joked that somehow they removed the bitch gene, because all of a sudden I loved everything. I was like, oh my God, life is awesome. Everything is fabulous. Did you smell that? Oh my God, it smells so incredible. And that was the start of my weirdness journey. Like, a lot of things changed from my weirdness journey. A lot of things changed from my surgery that I didn't expect. Like, immediately my irritable bowel syndrome, gone. I didn't know you weren't supposed to cry when you poop. And that was a really lovely one to get rid of. My heartburn went away. Now I noticed my sense of smell was heightened. Again, weird. I was not expecting that. I literally spent the hour drive home smelling an airplane peanut because I was like, oh my God, dude, smell this peanut. And my kid was like, it's a peanut. And I was like, no, you don't understand. That is the best smelling peanut I've ever smelled in my life. And I spent an hour sniffing the peanut, like, because it smelled so good. And then I got a weird, I call it smelling other people's food addiction, because I couldn't eat for a while. Like, it's quite a while after surgery before you're able to eat. First, it's liquid diet, protein shakes, then blended food, soft food like eggs. So altogether, I'm going to say I probably went without eating for 2.5 months out of surgery. So I became very addicted to smelling other people's food because it smells good. And I knew I couldn't eat
That's
it.
what I do. But that's what I do because I can't eat most of the food that everybody else is eating because my body reacts to everything. I have the same. I'm like, can I just smell your dinner? Can I smell all that cake, please? Because if I smell the cake, it really does give you the sensation of having not quite, but almost having eaten it because your nose has so many receptors in it that it gives you a different kind of an experience. So I have the same sniffing addiction. Can I just put that out there?
Hands up for anybody who does, because I'll tell you what, I love it. And the first time I did it, I made a whole family uncomfortable. I can't lie. We were sitting at the airport. We're waiting for our flight to come. And my girlfriend and I are sitting there, and this lovely family sits right across from us with their McDonald's breakfast. And dude, it smelled so good. Like, they had, the McGriddles, the pancakes, the whole deal. And my girlfriend and I are just sitting across from them and crying, like literally crying. And I thought, okay, so I'm starting to make them feel uncomfortable. Maybe I should explain to them, why I'm crying. And I said, sorry, but we just recently had a gastric surgery and we're not able to eat anything. And she was like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Do you want us to move somewhere else? And I'm like, no, you misunderstand. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your food smell with me, because I could just cry over how good it smells. It smells so incredibly good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. I just didn't want to be the crazy white lady crying in the corner. So I thought I would explain to you.
So then tell us, Dory, you lose a bunch of weight, and how did you end up with keto, and how did you end up figuring out how to keto for bariatrics? I mean, are you not supposed to be, everything I've heard says you're not supposed to be able to keto if you're bariatric, which, as you have proven, it's wrong.
Yeah.
So can you fix that for us?
I lost a lot of weight right away, and I will say I looked really weird. I seemed to lose all of my weight on the upper part of my body, and none of it ever went away on my stomach. Like, I maintained the same weird roll to tire roll shape that I had. I just got smaller. So I had all of my same, I still had my distinctive back fat rolls. I still had my distinctive stomach rolls. I literally took the size that I was and went, whoop, but my body was still exactly the same shape. That never changed. And I really had come to terms with the fact that it just wasn't going to. It was never going to change. That just is what it is. So I got down to 160 pounds, which for me was a 130-pound loss. And then I lost my mother, and I started to out-eat my surgery. Now, what I'm going to say is my surgery did not fail me. I failed to use the tool properly. Nothing about my surgery changed other than the fact that I got smarter. And I realized, you know what, I can't eat a whole chocolate bar, but I can eat a bite of a chocolate bar now, and I can eat a bite in 20 minutes, and I can eat a bite in another 20 minutes. And I got to the point where I was, again, eating a whole chocolate bar every day. It would take me all day long to eat it, but I could eat me a whole bag of chips. So I started to out-eat my surgery. So instead of using it as a tool because my amount of food was limited, I literally took that as, you know what, I can eat whatever I want because I eat this much. Screw you. Screw you. I don't care. I eat this much. I'm gonna eat what I want. And I started to gain weight. Now, when I talk about boundaries and people saying things to me, when my mother passed away, her boyfriend at the time continued to live with me for a while until it got ugly. And one day he just looked up at me and he said, you know, I know you think you're losing weight, but you're not. You're starting to get really pear-shaped. And I was like, oh my God, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you even talk about my weight? How dare you refer to whether or not I'm losing or gaining weight? I wouldn't even take that off of my man. So you don't get to. And he was like, well, you know, like you were doing so good and now you're gaining weight. And I'll tell you what, if you had a surgery and you went through what I went through, people cannot wait for you to fail. Like they are just waiting. They're waiting in the wings. They're waiting for you to regain the weight so they can say to you, see, I told you you wasted your time and your money and it wasn't really going to benefit you anyways. So here's the second problem that I encountered. When I realized that I needed to lose weight and I needed to learn how to eat healthy, because let's be honest, I always knew I did. My surgeon was very clear about that. You know, this is a tool, Dory. This is a stepping stone. This is something to keep in your toolbox to help you be healthy. This is not the be-all, end-all answer. But when I went hunting then for help, I couldn't find any because I got this attitude. Oh, you took the easy way. You don't deserve my help. Pardon? Okay.
You know what? I have a number of friends that have gone through bypass surgery, and let me tell you something. There is no easy in bypass surgery. What you have to do before, what you go through during, what you have to do after, how you have to take care of yourself. There is nothing easy about that. There is nothing easy about having major surgery. Do not kid yourselves.
No. And I lost
And
a
I've
lot
had
of
friends
hair.
that go through it.
Weird things
Sorry?
happen too. Like I had already had my period that month. Nobody warned me that having surgery makes your period come. I'm going to share a funny story with you and say that tampons in Mexico are not good. I bought Kotex brand and they looked like they were hand rolled by a 2-year-old, and it was a piece of cotton with literally a hole in it and a string tied to it. I was like, that's Kotex brand though. and I lost a lot of my hair. Now, I didn't realize that either. Nobody warned me. But when you have any major surgery, your body reacts that way and you're going to lose some hair. It will come back.
Just like Dory will in a moment.
Yeah, I turned off my notifications, but
And there's another one. So while we're waiting,
yes.
Angelique says 30% of your taste is through your nose. So that's a really interesting little factoid. I like that one.
Sorry,
Okay.
it's my notifications. I turned them off, but it keeps freezing me. That was Dr. Lemansky saying he's still on. He's just getting off the phone now. So he wants to know, can we reschedule? So I'll have to get back to him and say, yes, we can reschedule.
That's awesome that you get to do a live with him. So where were we? Right. So we were just talking about some of the misconceptions around bariatrics, but now I'd like you to talk about how you found keto.
Okay, so that one's a funny story too, actually. I never intended to start keto. I was not looking for a diet. I wasn't. I had 20 pounds to lose, and my girlfriend wanted to try the newest Miracle Keto OS shake, and it says you can lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. So she talked to me about it, and she was like, you know what, let's split a month. It was ridiculously expensive. But I said, you know what, I got 2 weeks and I got 20 pounds to lose. So you know what, let's do it. We bought the 1 month supply to split. And the day the shakes arrived, she phoned me all excited. Oh my God, Dory, I was researching on the internet how to make the best use of these shakes, and there's a whole diet. And I was like, dude, you better back up off me with that D word. You want to be my friend or not? clearly you don't know me. We have been friends for 13 years. I had surgery so I didn't have to diet. So if you want to be my friend, I suggest you shut up. And she was like, oh, Dory, this one's different. I swear. It's it's different than any diet you've ever seen. You're going to like it. Watch this video. It's a 29-minute video, and I know it's really long, but promise you're going to watch it. So I get off the phone with her promising to watch this video, and I'm immediately ticked off at myself that I promised. Because that's 29 minutes. That's a really long video. So I get my phone out, and I get ready to push play, and I won't lie, I was already salty. I looked at it, and I thought, that's it. You're right, diet guy. I don't like your face. I don't. So why don't you? Why don't you tell me how awesome you are and how you know how I'm going to be thin? Because not enough people in my whole life have told me how I'm going to be thin with their high carb, low fat, moderate protein diet. That if I just had the willpower to follow, I could be thin like everybody else. So I watched the video, and he started off with bulletproof coffee, and I thought, dude, you're gross. If I didn't promise I'd watch you, I'd already turned this off. And then something magical happened. He said, bacon. And I was like, hey, Big Daddy, tell me more about this bacon. I like bacon. Tell me about it. And he started talking about things like high-fat cheese, heavy cream, whipping cream, all the things that I love. And I was like, okay, so maybe I don't completely hate your face, but it's still unpleasant. It's unpleasant. You have an unpleasant face, sir. And I phoned my girlfriend, and I apologized for swearing at her face, because I did that. And I said, okay, you can send me a little bit more information about your special diet. And it's funny because it became my special diet. A year and a half later, I'm the one doing it and she doesn't. I don't know. And it just made sense to me. Like I watched the video, I looked at the information, and I thought, you know what? This makes sense. This sounds like the food my body should be eating. This sounds like the way I should eat. This makes sense to me. And I just jumped right in. I knew nothing. I knew nothing about keto. I made all the mistakes that all the newbies made, plus a couple, because I'm extra smooth Dory. And I just went at it. I knew that keto was low carb. Everybody knows that. So I just started Googling low carb fruits, low carb vegetables. And I went from there. And I won't lie, I ate a lot of stuff that wasn't even low carb because I didn't know. I didn't know, and you don't know until you know. And I'm going to say I probably did keto on my own for almost 5 months before somebody added me to a couple keto Facebook groups. And I was like, what? They have groups for that? Okay. And the irony is I got added to 3 groups, one of which Wendy used to be moderator in. We never even knew we knew each other in that group. But I'm going to tell you.
No. No, even better was not only did we not know we knew each other, but the first time she ever posted in that group, she irritated the snot out of me. And I actually,
you too, baby.
Like, snipped. Yeah, I know. I actually snipped the conversation and found it on my hard drive somewhere and went, oh my God. This was in the days that I didn't even like you. You were like, ugh.
Should we tell them what we argued about? I store all of my nuts on my countertop. You guys have seen that in my videos lots. And when I decided how I was going to go about storing my nuts, I researched how long they're good on the counter, where I have to store them because I don't have the fridge space. And Wendy commented she was concerned about the rancidness of my nuts. And I was like, I'm good, dude. I did all my research.
The rancidness of your nuts. You know, this conversation is going down. Okay, so Dory, here's a question for you because we want to tie this up because I have another live coming up with Angelique after this. If someone has had bariatric surgery and wants to follow keto, what are your top tips for them?
Okay, so now the first thing I did when I wanted to start keto was I went and figured out my macros. That's what everybody does, right? You go into the calculator, you get your macros. And the problem is that calculator only calculates the average. So what it spit out for me was what I should eat for an average woman of my height, my weight, and my body mass index. So it told me 1,600 calories a day. And I went, holy crap, I'll die. I can't eat 1,600 calories a day. So I went to the groups and I was like, dude, what happens if I can't eat all this food? And they said, oh, you won't lose weight. Those are like bells you got to ring. You got to hit all of your targets every day or you're not going to lose weight. And I went, okay, well, maybe keto's not for me then because I can't eat that much food. But it still seemed to make sense to me that I could eat that way. So I just decided I would go about figuring out my macros on my own. So what I did is I went backwards. So instead of tracking what I should eat, I decided I would track what I do eat. So I took 2 months and I tracked all of the food that I ate, keeping in mind my percentages, and then I looked at that number. And at the end of 2 months, I realized I only consume 900 to 950 calories a day. So almost half of what they recommend. So when I looked at that, I got to play biohacker because once I realized what I was eating, then I figured out how to adjust it. So I knew for me, I eat less protein. I don't process it as well. So when I lowered my protein number a little, guess what happened? My fats went up. My carbs went slightly up. So for me, I eat 80% fat, 14% protein, 6% carb, which works out to only 12 or 13 grams of carbs a day. But for me, I had to figure it out backwards and I had to do it on my own because nobody could help me. Nobody knew what I should eat. I talked to doctors, I talked to meal planners. I asked people, I said, you know, I'd love to do your meal plan, but I can't eat that much food. And they said, oh, haha, just eat what you can. And I said, okay, but here's my problem. If I need 80, 14, 6, and I eat half of what your plan has, how do I pull that out of your plan that's 70, 25? And you can't. You have to figure out how to make it work for yourself. So my number one thing that I would say, if you're keto and you want, if you're bariatrics and you want a keto, is you already know how much you can eat. You know how much you can physically eat. So we're already limited to amount. The only thing that matters to you is percentages. So you want more fat, slightly less protein, and just a teeny weeny little bit more carbs to help you process all of the stuff in your body.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you, Dory. Dory and I are going to be doing this again at 9 p.m. tonight on Instagram. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and finally getting some of this off your chest because you have never ever talked about this live, and I'm really proud of you for doing it because I know it was really hard for you.